This is the only breakfast sausage that I've ever loved.
Swaggerty's hot sausage patties. Absolutely phenomenal.
I tried it without the pork belly, and it's just not as good.
I figured out how to make them myself, and now I'm sharing the recipe with you. Let's get started.
I need to take this big old pork butt I got. It's a bone-in pork butt, and I need to remove this bone. It runs right along here. And so we can find this seam. Good place to start is by removing that bone. It's the only breakfast sausage I've ever loved. And you know, I live in Michigan, and you can't get this sausage here. You can get the regular version, but not the spicy. And that's the whole point, is the spicy one. That's the good one. That's the one I remember. All right. You can see I'm getting to the edge of the bone here. And now I can cut down.
Showcasing here how to do an entire bone-in pork butt's worth of sausage. But my calculator in the link in the description will allow you to do any amount of pork you want. You don't have to do a 12-pound butt if you don't want to.
All right. Now, so this is all boneless. And this is our bone right here. So we gotta finish taking that out. So we'll get this out of the way for now. And just take your time here if you're having to debone it. You can buy boneless ones too. And I don't mind taking a little bit of time to cut the bone out, trim it up. I think it was like $1.59 a pound for the bone-in one on sale, and the boneless was $1.99 a pound. So this was 12 pounds. So that 40 cents a pound saved me almost $5. And I just gotta cut this bone out. So now the rest of this, we just need to cut up into pieces that'll go through the grinder. So we just cut it into strips. There is a little bit of sinew and stuff you can take off. Like right here, you know, that doesn't really grind up all that well, that silver skin. So you can remove that, and it's just garbage. Just throw that away. You know, like that, like a 1x1, 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch strips are perfect. So again, like I said, there's some of the sinew, like right here, it won't grind really. It's just gonna clog your grinder, and you can put it in your pork stock, or just throw it away if you're not planning to make stock. You know, some of this stuff will grind. The silver skin definitely will not. But anything that's shiny, boning knife is not exactly the best use for cutting this. There's better knives, but why dirty more than one knife? And this one's plenty sharp, as you can see. wasn't just trying to make a good breakfast sausage. I was chasing a specific flavor and texture that I already knew. The pork butt gives you the meat, but the pork belly gives us the fat. I tried it without the pork belly, and it's just not as good. The fat content is what gives it the texture, and really what gives it the final flavor.
So this is my first attempt at the breakfast sausage, and this was before I added pork belly to it. Just so you can see what this looks like. Note how dry the pan was?
Smells pretty good. It's pretty good. Wow. For a first attempt, that's awesome. I think it needs a little bit more fat in it.
Pork belly is exactly what we need to add fat to this. My first batch was made with straight pork butt. Although they were good, it needed the fat for the flavor and the texture to get it right. Look at the first batch and how little fat was in the pan. And now look at how they cook up now. You can see how much more fat renders out when you add that 30% belly.
Alright, let's try this now with the added fat to it. The texture is better because of the fat. Wow. It's really good. It's really good. Man, it's addictively delicious. Do that. You won't be upset.
As a reference, the one on the right has 30% pork belly added to it. The one on the left is straight pork butt.
We're gonna need probably multiple bowls to weigh this in. Depending on your scale, you might not be able to hold the whole thing. And I got 950 of pork belly. So 4550 of the butt to 950 of the belly is what we're doing for this batch. Ideally, I think it's like 20 to 30% belly, but this is a pretty fatty butt, so the final fat content should be pretty good. That's what we have to work with today. If you try to make it perfect, I would aim for probably 30% belly. It's I don't know if you could put too much in it, to be honest. It makes it really good. Let's get to the next step. Take the pork and put it in the fridge and keep it cold, or put it in the freezer even if you have space, while you're preparing the liquid. So now you have your calculations. You put them in my calculator that's linked in the description below. I'm not asking for your email address. It's not tied to anything. It's not monetized. There's no sales pitches, nothing. You just click on it and use my calculator and do as much pork butt or belly or mixture as you want. Nothing tied to it. It's just free. I had ChatGPT make it for me using my ratios, so that anyone can use it and make it how much ever pork they have can make the same recipe. So please enjoy. It's free for everybody. I'll try and get mine in the freezer if I can. I tried several variations of the seasoning before I got it exactly how I wanted it. I need a scale that goes down to 0.1 of a gram to do this, to do all the ingredients perfectly. But as long as you have at least a gram scale, you'll get it close enough. I'd still give it a shot if I was you. So I have 3 bowls here, and I'm going to put the seasoning for the 3 batches into 3 separate bowls. I'm going to measure the seasonings in this and then dump them into each bowl. So that way we're not just dumping it straight into there. That way if it gets a little heavy when we're measuring, we can always adjust it. Never add ingredients into the same bowl you're measuring with the final product into. So this is going to be the batch, measure it in here, dump it into there. You don't want to measure it straight into the bowl with the rest of the seasonings, just in case you go too far.
containers explode, you get shaky, you sneeze, things happen. And then you add too much seasoning, and some of them, it matters. We start with the first ingredient in each bowl, and that's just gonna be warm water. Use the calculator to figure out how much you need for your recipe. For mine, I need 72 grams of warm water. And make sure you zero out each bowl as you go. You know, to the same bowl like these, they're not all perfectly the same. Alright, so I have my warm water in each bowl. So first ingredient is salt. And go down one bowl at a time. Now when you're measuring out these seasonings, it does matter. Small amounts are big variables. As we go, I'm just going to gently start to stir this. The whole point of using warm water is so that we can dissolve these seasonings. Uncle Roger's favorite ingredient, MSG. And this I definitely try to add exact amounts. You can see I'm a fan. Okay. The next ingredient is a bit of a cheating ingredient. You can put it in or you don't have to. I'm tempted to leave it out of the method. Super chefy secret food sciencey stuff. But, you know, not everyone has this stuff. And not everyone's gonna buy it. And not everyone's gonna see my video. So the people that do, you can either tell people or keep it a secret. Put that right there. This is not sponsored, but there you have it. What that does is it makes the MSG make the food taste even better. It's cheating is what it is. It's chef cheating. So you can put that in your food along with MSG, very small amounts. 0.03% is what recommended at maximum dosage. So very, 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 very small amounts of it. But it is very expensive. So most people won't buy it because it's very expensive. But it does make it taste delicious. It doesn't really taste like anything. And that's the part that most people are going to have a problem with. Is that it doesn't taste like anything. It just makes everything taste better. And it's very abstract, right? But you just taste it and it's like, why does that taste so good? It's because of the I+G. Next we need black pepper. I don't even see how chunky that is. Next we're going to need sage. And next is red pepper flakes. I don't grind these up either, I put them in their whole. Now, I like them a little on the spicy side for
most people, I think, for a breakfast sausage. So I would be careful. I happen to like spicy, so if I make it a little extra spicy for me, I'm okay with it. But careful, especially with the cayenne. 1/10 of a gram with the cayenne will make a big difference. Now we just need to mix each one of these up nice. Alright. Now I've got those mixed up pretty good. So we're gonna need some ice. So it's 32 grams a piece. So it's about 100 grams. So we're just gonna grab a little extra. We're just gonna take a baggie. Just grab yourself a rolling pin or something. So, I have it. That's crushed ice. 32 grams of ice. Each one of these. Now I've seen those big chunks, so I'm gonna pull that out of there. Alright. Now we have our seasoning / liquid made up, and we're gonna want to keep that cold. Okay? So now I want to take our frozen grinder suddenly. And we're going to go ahead and grind this pork up. Now, we want to mix the belly in. Now, I got an even larger bowl than my original bowl of the pork because I need to be able to mix all this pork together. That way the belly and all the fat gets distributed as easily as possible. So you want everything nice and cold. So we're going to start with a piece of belly. The meat, the fat, and the grinder all need to be cold. Stay cold. You start losing your texture if the fat starts smearing. See how it's grinding nice? Almost done. No. All right. We're good with this. I will give you a tip on the grinder. Cleaning it. Your natural instinct, I know, is to put hot water. Well, if you put hot water on it, what you're going to do is you're going to cook the proteins. And when you cook the protein, it's just going to make it that much harder to get the stuff off. So, don't rinse it off first with cold water. Then use hot water to clean it. I tried to grind this up kind of evenly as I was grabbing, fattier and less fatty pieces, but it's kind of perfect. So, what we're going to do, just to try to make sure that the fat is evenly distributed in the meat, as best as possible, in the pork belly, we're just going to mix this up by hand, just slightly. We're not trying to mix it perfectly, right? We're just trying to mix in, get the belly ground stuff mixed in with the butt. And I want all my sausage to eat as evenly as possible. So I just take a couple of seconds, mix up the pork. Right? And that's it. Just a couple of minutes, mix it up, just so that it's a little more mixed up evenly. That's all. Okay. Now it's time to actually mix it and season the pork. So we're doing this in 3 1,800 gram batches. So I'm gonna grab part from here, part from here. Again, I'm just trying to mix this up. I'm not trying to make it perfect, but it makes me feel better that if I do this, and the fat will be a little more evenly distributed. It's better if it's cold. We're gonna put it back in the freezer. And we're gonna remove one of our liquids with our seasonings out of the fridge. I've also put a paddle in the freezer, which we're going to use to mix the pork. Make this actually in a sausage patty, just so I make sure I get every little bit of this liquid out of here and into our pork. Use a spatula, get all your seasonings. I'm going to start it on slow so we don't throw this around. Then we can start speeding it up. I'm just mixing this long enough to bind this and turn it into sausage. I don't want to make it into bouncy balls. I'm going to develop the bind and get the seasoning mixed in nice. About 90 seconds. But what we can actually look for is the pork start to stick to the sides a little bit. And that should be it. I'm going to get a glove. Yep. Okay. Yep, so it's just slightly tacky on my glove. And that's what I'm looking for, just slightly tacky. It's about 90 seconds. Again, we're going to measure out 1,800 grams of pork. While seasoning. Again, start on slow. Now we need to form the patties. So you can spend all day forming individual patties if you want to.
And you would do that by forming pucks and then pressing the pucks into a ring mold, just like that. And you want to pre-form them and keep them nice and compacted and press them together just like this. And that way when you put it in the mold, it's quicker and easier to press and get it nice. If you just take a big ball of meat and try to stick it in there, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt. So I would advise to weigh them and then pre-ball them before you put them in the mold.
But I'm trying to make this quick and easy, and just put enough sausage in the freezer to last me a couple of months. Take you a sheet tray and line it with parchment paper. I already did the math on what I want this to be. So these are going to be about just a little over 3 ounce patties when they're done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take about 3 pounds of pork mixture and spread it into each tray, press it out, freeze it, cut those into square patties, and I'm going to repeat the process until all the mixture is frozen and have a whole bunch of freezer patties. We need these into 3-pound sheets. I try to get it close to even when I'm pressing it out. Okay. Now I'll take another piece of parchment and put it on top. And I've got a pretty good heavy rolling pin here that I can use to really even this patty out, this giant patty, and firm it up. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can just continue to press it out with your hands. It works just fine. I'm just using what I have. This marble rolling pin works great. to press the sausage nice and firm and make it nice and even in this pan. Now this isn't perfect, but it's close enough. They're just for me. It's fine. So what we can do, slide that out, and then another layer of parchment paper. And it's just to compact it and make sure it's even. This one, we can freeze all our patties at one time on the same sheet tray. And now we've got a whole lot of sausage patties. Next step, let them freeze and cut them up into portions.
Our sausage patties should be frozen. You can see, these aren't perfect, but who cares? This is so much faster than having to cut perfect sausage patties. So it's easier if you use a sharper knife, a little bit heavier knife to get through the frozen sausage, but it's really not that difficult to cut. This will just help me line up my cuts. We'll run that down. It's not going to cut this frozen sausage for me, but what it'll do is it'll score it for me. You can give me light score marks. And give me a place to. So this one I need to do 3 this way. This doesn't have to be perfect, but this for me is just a little bit quicker. You can eyeball it easy enough as well. I could have stood here and formed every patty by hand. Made them all perfect. And you can do that if you want to. But me personally, I'm just trying to make breakfast. Yeah. I have 15 patties. How much time did it really take me to press out each tray and then cut them versus having a patty each one of these? This one actually was a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna actually cut this one down into smaller patties. So we're actually cut this into 5. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's go 6 by. That's about right. This way. Now you'll be able to see that this is more like a normal size sausage patty. That ended up with 30 patties out of a tray, and more like this size versus, the sandwich size. So normal patty, and then big sandwich size patties. So, if I cut all 4 trays in the 30s, I had 120 patties out of that, or 60, depending on how many you want, what you're gonna use it for. I like to cut both, use them for both. And these aren't perfect, but like I said, they don't need to be.
It's just for me. And a whole lot faster. Cut them like this. There it is. To patty them all out. What do you think? That's a whole lot of patties. Didn't take that much work. But we'll see how much it costs to make all these patties, and we'll put the cost up on the screen so you can see it. We're gonna put these in the freezer, get these bagged up. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. So I've got parchment paper here. You use butcher paper if you had it. And then you need either baggies or Cryovac bags. And so you're gonna make these so it'll fit inside. Just black bag. And you see and you got quite a few sausages in one bag. Then you put them on the freezer. I'm gonna eventually take them down and put them in my deep freezer. Now, I do have a Cryovac machine, so I'm gonna be sealing them. Stick them in here. Now we're gonna stick this in the freezer. Make sure it's nice and frozen before we Cryovac it, so we don't smash any patties. Try this out. Man, it smells good. It's a muffin. Mm. 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 It's so good. Wow. You want to learn how to make the muffin too? Make sure you follow me for when I release that video. Mm. 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 Man, is that good. Now I don't have to settle for the regular version. I can have the spicy whatever I want, right out of my freezer. And the muffins are too. You want a freezer full of breakfast too? Follow me and I'll teach you how. That's the best sauce I've ever made.